This is Global Missing Persons Alert, Interpol Yellow Notice number 21-22733. And it is now July 7th. It's about 1 a.m. in the morning, July 7th, 2025. And I've been ever since the minute I woke up this morning doing this. Fucking America up the ass. And as the last video that's uploading now, okay, part 1 of a new retaliatory operation against the United States of America, most specifically the Iggers with an N of CIA, Wayne County Corporate Counsel, and the mayor of the city of Dearborn, Michigan, Abdul Hamid, his office. So I was 2 hours into it, and when I started talking about the satanic cult that the CIA in the United States of America is, and how everything is based on the laws of the occult and demonology, right on down from your judicial systems to the corporate system to your economic system to everything, even the houses you live in. The reason why they are built according to standard measurements is because your houses are architected and designed, not just your houses but all buildings in America, by sacred geometry, with portals all through your home. And you know, you're Americans, okay? Too dumb to know that you're dumb, too arrogant and ignorant to learn anything, and you have polluted your already brainwashed minds on Hollywood bullshit. And so, you know, you can't really consciously comprehend the reality of that. Well, I come from a different world and I live in different realms than you people do, of a much, much, much higher intellect than any of you. And that's what that is the world and in the realms within the world that I live in and that I was born into as a prisoner to the satanic occult that German KSA, Israeli Mossad, and CIA is. And I am part of, my family is a Papal family. I was born one of the most powerful and most protected and hidden people in the world. And, you know, what it really is and what all that protection, it really is for, is to protect these Satan's interests, these Satans of America and West Europe. My DNA and my life, my DNA is more valuable, okay, to the masters in the lesser gods that you people worship and serve, okay, than it is to myself. And my life is more important to the international community than it is to myself. So that's what I do. I can scan walls and I can feel for portals, and they're there. They're actual real. It's a real thing, and actual real entities come through them. I have the ability and the know-how to feel for those energetic portals through the walls, on the walls, and I close them. I clear them and I close them. And I have also battled demons toe to toe, fist to fist. And Carol Walbridge has been a witness to that. Carol Walbridge is a seer, okay? And she is able to, Carol Walbridge was my next door neighbor, and we were really, really close friends for a time. And but Carol was Carol's son, Mike, is a CIA, Department of Defense, targeted kidnapping, human trafficking terrorist, and a Scientologist. And Carol, like everybody else who's been any part of my life, is also a Homeland Security, DHHS, FEMA contracted role player. And so we're not friends anymore, but we were for years, and she was my next door neighbor. And Carol is a seer, which Carol did not realize or even know, and possibly throughout her life, because she's like 70 something now, and at this time she was I think she was 68 or 69, and she may have not previously in her life been a seer, but when she was in my home in Rochester Hills at the time, things would happen that are normal everyday life for me and have been for 56 years that are not normal for other people. For example, I was sitting on my couch and Carol was sitting across from me on the love seat, and all of a sudden I heard a bitch slap, and Carol's head flung sideways, and Carol said, "Oh!" And I busted out laughing. It was one of the funniest things I ever saw in my life. Carol got bitch slapped by an invisible demon that I couldn't see, and that she couldn't see at the time either. And then it was over to the side of us, like going towards the hallway to where you'd go to the bathroom, and it started hissing at us, and we were hiss, and Carol was able to see it, the snake, the serpent that it was. And I humiliated it, and I tortured it, and I psychologically tormented it, and it went right out through the portal in the wall. And then Carol did an 1.5-hour video of, Carol was trying to get a picture of me. And every time she would try to get the picture, there was a demon showing up in the background behind me. So and Carol could see it. She could see it in real time. Her eyes. She was tapping into that frequency. And so she guided me towards it, and I was able to feel for it. I'm a magician. Okay, I had the copper bracelets out and all my magician's tools, and I was able to feel for the entities. It was 2 of them, and I felt for their form, and I literally held them hostage while I tortured and tormented them, while Carol stood there with the videoing it while she could actually see them, and she was telling me what they were doing. They eventually were able to break free, and they escaped out the portal in the wall. And then they went and they sat out in the trees out behind my back door wall, in which Carol could see them out there. There was another time me and Carol were in my room, and I was goddamning the CIA to fucking hell. They're always here, as we covered in the first part 1 video of this. DARPA, satellite, okay, spy technology, neurointerfacing, artificial telepathy, okay. So I was goddamming the CIA and all their children straight to fucking hell, and I think this was in 2018, before the Hillary and Pfizer pharmaceutical MBA operation, or it was in 2017, I'm not sure, and I think it was 18 though. And so we were in my room, and a snake came. Carol could see it, and she guided me to it, and I was able to feel for that snake, and I was able to grab it around its neck, and I held it there, and I was strangling it with both hands, and it was fighting me, trying to get loose. And Carol was standing there with the video camera, and she was saying, oh my God, he's trying to get loose. And he was fighting me. And I tortured and tormented that son of a bitch for about 8 minutes, and he was finally able to slither free through my hands and exit through the portals in the wall. So, that's a little bit of background of my experience and the gifts and the abilities that I have. And all these things take place in all of your own homes at all times, and you're just so completely brainwashed and programmed and oblivious to the false you live in a false reality, and you're completely oblivious to what reality really is. So, you're not even sure these things exist. Okay. So, as I was talking about that's when they start getting really scared and really fucking paranoid. And by a deliberate act of remote cyber terrorism, the video was stopped at 2 hours. So that video is uploading, and I should be able to fit about 40 minutes into this. And then by that time, if that one's done, then I can delete that and clear my space, upload this one, and start another one. And it's going to go on, and it's going to go on, and it's going to go on, and it's going to go on and on and on and on. And I'm going to drive this motherfucking train wreck over the edge and off the fucking rails with every one of you Americans on it. Okay? I'm going to drive this psyop over and over and over and over and over and over again for purposes of psychological warfare and mind control against you, the American people. The targeted kidnapping, human child sex organ, labor, and Judeo-Christian, satanic, occult, ritual and sacrifice, trafficking, murder, and international and domestic terrorist operations under FISA and the Patriot Act that comes with a $30,000 ticket per victim's head. And those victims do include children who are put on the Patriot Act list and the terrorist watch list, before they can even walk and talk. Okay? Because that's how America legalizes kidnapping, trafficking, murder, terrorism. That's how they legalize eating your children, butt fucking and eating your children. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the child sex ritual sacrifice. This is how it works. First of all, you modern American Muslims who can do anything a non-Muslim can do, including go to the NBA or become Miss America. Nobody goes to the NBA, and nobody becomes Miss America, and nobody becomes a rock star without an occult blood ritual sacrifice and a child sex sacrifice and a cannibal spirit feast. Nobody. Okay? So, what happens? We'll use Alex and Avery Ishmael as the example here. And from what I understand, we had inside spies that were there at the rituals. And me and my father, Roger Del Payton, and we were contracted as the occult blood ritual sacrifice that was supposed to be carried out on December 25th, 2020, Satan's Day, at Buckingham Palace. And the operation for it, the kidnapping, trafficking operation for it, in which I sacrificed my life to save 12 other lives. And this was also, these sacrifices were also for Scientology's Modern American Muslim reality show filmed in Dearborn, Michigan, USA, and it's really fucking pathetic. It's all about America's corporate commercialized cheap junk brand of pop culture, Dearborn Islam. Is what it is. It's not real Islam. It's modern American Muslim Islam. It's Rand Foundation Islam. That's your Islamic terrorism. Okay, that's who ISIS is. That's who Al Qaeda, Al Shabaab, Boko Haram. Okay, that's who it is. Americans and Europeans. And it all comes out of America. And all these modern American Muslims, they know it. And in spite of knowing that, and in spite of the fact that, if it's just us sitting around, as Muslims, and we're talking, they talk all kinds of shit, okay? Like, for example, when I would be standing with, the Fawazes, like Zainab, Hussein, Ali Fawaz, Marwan Hatcham would be there, Mike, a.k.a. Mohammed Sob, okay? We'd be having discussions all about America's fake Islamic terrorist organizations, okay? And man, they talk big shit, but then, guess what? As soon as my CIA Navy detail, Bert and them, do what they are supposed to do, and they come, and Jay Cooper is what was with Bert and them, CIA, U.S. Navy intelligence for Vatican. However, Jay Cooper is CIA deep, dark, black ops of the military Department of Defense, which gets into the world of the demonic world and the spiritual world, and working with demons and working with witchcraft and things like that. Jay Cooper is also the one that basically bought my son, who was born, he's not my son. He's Jay and Renee Cooper's son, okay? And he's a little fucking terrorist for the CIA Department of Defense stationed in North Dakota. And his name is Joseph Cooper. And he was born on February 6, 1996, and Jay Cooper and Renee Cooper basically bought him in a CIA arranged adoption deal based on DNA, and now he's a little fucking targeting terrorist for CIA Department of Defense, and he fucked around and he started targeting me in 2017, and I'm gonna orphan and bastardize his children, and I'm taking the fucking life that I gave him. Him and his skank wife, his disgusting fucking skank wife that looks like olive oil from the Popeye cartoon. Okay, and here's the thing, he's a little four-eyed retard with completely vaccine damage, who grew up wearing Coke bottom glasses and 2 hearing aids and shaking like he's got fucking Parkinson's and tics and stuff, okay, from America's vaccines. And then he married some 6-foot lanky olive oil looking skank, and she is a Homeland Security FEMA contracted role player, and she's gonna die too. Them kids are gonna be orphan bastards. But he's not my kid, and those are not my grandkids. I have never seen them, and I never will see them. They're going to die here in a post-war torn America in their own filth, disease, and shit like every other orphaned American child. So that's who Jay Cooper is. And Jay Cooper is he's been so fucking obsessed and so fucking paranoid of me for ever since they bought that kid. Okay, and they have spun this whole web of lies, okay, and basically Jay Cooper has monitored me throughout my entire adult life by the DARPA, real-time DARPA satellite monitoring, and anybody and everybody who has been part of my life, here comes Jay Cooper to recruit them with a contract, and many of those against me. And so that's what happened with that whole crew, the Fawazes, the Hatchams, and Mohammed Sob. Marwan Hatcham and Mohammed Sob own Kebab Hut on Mound Road near 16 Mile, right across from my dad's office at the news, which is right there with that whole big Mound Road military industrial complex, the one with the shoot to kill on site signs, the one that has a military abduction lab. It has a DOD Task Force 1 secret prison where all of America's missing people, including underage children, go. That's where Donnie Martin went. So that was right across the street from there. And it was a big spy operation going on. So anyways, that's what these Muslims do. That's what these modern American Muslims do. They stand around, they talk all kinds of big shit. They know America's a terrorist corporation. They know that they're the Shayateen species. Okay? Particularly, if they're Shia Muslims, Shias know these things. Okay, this is things that Shia Muslims teach their children since they are young. Like, for example, Iran, my people in Iran, they know exactly what and who you people are while you think you're humans and you're not. They know you're Scythians. That's what the Iranians know you as. They know you as Scythians. And they know you are a non-human beast, hybrid beast species. Okay? The Caucasians that are black and white, okay, AB negative and A negative bloodlines that slithered out of the Caucasian mountains, okay, became the Khazarian Empire, and that's who you are, America. That's you, Gog and Magog, the hybrid beast that the prophecies spoke of. And that's what Jay and Renee Cooper are. They're hybrid beasts. They're AB negative hybrid beasts. So, they'll stand and they'll talk all this big shit, but boy, as soon as a contract is offered, oh boy, where do I sign for the blood ritual sacrifice? Where do I sign for the kidnap contract at? Show me where to sign this Patriot Act contract on this person. Boy, they can't wait to sign it. Okay, and then they get set up with a contract marriage. Okay, because they try to keep, they try to keep CIA families, like, all together. They don't, want their CIA operatives and or agents going rogue and meeting somebody on their own. It's all controlled. So Jay Cooper, in all his paranoia and fear-based obsession, has followed me around my entire adult life, recruiting anybody and everybody who has ever been a part of it, including the Fawazes, and including Marwan and Hyder Hatcham, and who have all obstructed justice, including Mohammed Sob. Okay, Kababha gets all the bulk international emails. I have contacted, I'm going to put this out there because they're all getting arrested and they're all being executed for their part in this kidnapping, human trafficking, murdering terrorist operation in which many people are dead and missing and many people have been hurt. Okay, I contacted them personally and they obstructed justice. Okay, they did not report the crimes that they had knowledge and information of, including the fact that I was a hostage, a tortured hostage at the time, as I am now, and they were obligated to report these crimes and this information they had to law enforcement, and they didn't. And they can't because like the rest of the modern American Muslims, they got a contract with the CIA and or federal government. Okay, and they've signed contracts on other people's lives for those contracts, which is to seal secrecy. This is all part of also the Epstein investigations, the P. Diddy all these investigations that far extend the whole P. Diddy thing that you're not being told okay? Because it's being a lot of stuff that you people don't know is being hidden from you, and you're being lied to, because Great Satan is doing what Great Satan does, taking you all down with them in the end. So, that's the reason why everything is on video, like with the Epstein investigation, with these P. Diddy and these Hollywood and entertainment industry investigations, because in all of their American ignorance and arrogance and narcissistic lizard traits, is that's what they do. They're so arrogant, and you got to understand, like for example, P. Diddy's the FBI. Like, just like 50 Cent, and speaking of 50 Cent, 50 Cent thinks that he's got people fooled. He thinks that because he turned and stabbed people in the back and has made it look like, he's doing the right thing and he's talking, he's not. Okay, matter of fact, Pastor Paul McWhorter, who is now preaching at Grace Baptist Church in Mayfield, Kentucky. Okay, one of his church people, and I don't think they're from Grace Baptist. Brother Paul McWhorter, he's in his 70s, and he's been pastoring churches around the United States of America for about the last 50 years. I've known him for over 40 years. And my mother was his secretary when I was a kid. And Pastor Paul McWhorter just told me over the phone a few months ago that somebody that he's connected to, his daughter went on a class trip, and I don't remember where it was, Cancun, Tijuana, I don't know, I don't remember. Or maybe it was I don't remember. But that she went on the class trip and she was raped by 50 Cent. And I guess they just kind of did what Americans do. They just kind of accepted it and, and moved on with their life. Well, guess what? 50 Cent's going to pay for his crimes, okay? He's not skating out of this. Anyways, that's what they do. They these FBI. They're, a lot of them, they're FBI, they're Homeland Security, they're all CIA, okay? And so they don't have to worry about nothing, coupled in with their American-born ignorance and arrogance and narcissism, okay? They're the world's superpower, okay? They're Americans. They're American citizens, and they're in the United States of America. And these lesser than lower life form hybrids have been convinced that they are the superior race, and that they can do anything that they want to anybody, anywhere, and fuck you. What are you gonna do about it? You can't do shit because I'm an American, okay? That's the problem with you Americans. That's the problem, and the rug has now been ripped out from underneath you, and I'm the one who ripped it out from underneath you. Okay? And you're all going down, all of you. Right on down to the tax-paying, voting civilian, who's never kidnapped, killed, or murdered a person in their life. No, they just fund, enable, and support the crimes, okay, that pays for their American dream. Well, your children are going to pay for that. End of story, period. No argument, no debate. You get no defense. Your children are going to pay for that. That's why I waged war. So, They video everything for blackmail. That's what the whole thing is about. It's about blackmail, and it doesn't matter to them. I mean, they're not really worried or concerned that it's on videotape because they're the FBI, they're the federal government. Fuck you. They're Americans. They're American citizens. Okay, they can do anything they want to anybody, anywhere, at any time they want, and fuck you. You can't do a goddamn thing about it. Okay, well, guess what? It all blew up in America's face. Okay. And that is the same reason why they sign occult blood ritual contracts, sacrifice contracts, kidnap contracts. And for those, okay, for example, a lot of these Muslims, okay, they cannot tell them to sign an occult satanic ritual sacrifice contract. Or they cannot call it a kidnapping contract. Okay, so they have to deceive them and tell them things like, I'll use myself as the example because this is what they do. They tell them that I am mentally ill and that I am under federal investigation and that I am on the Patriot Act and the terrorist watch list. And so for their contract, they need to sign this Patriot Act contract so that they can come kidnap me and traffic me into the DOD, Department of Defense, Task Force 1, where I will never see the light of day again. And they do it. And if somebody comes along and offers one of your friends or family members a contract, they're going to do it to you too. That's who and what Americans are and what Americans do. So it's for blackmail purposes. And this way the people cannot ever talk. They cannot ever say anything. Because if they do, those kidnap contracts and sacrifice contracts that they signed will be used against them. And at the same time, they are convinced that they are getting immunity of prosecution. Okay, except here's the thing. The terrorist offering the immunity of prosecution, and they always have the paper there signed too. Mind you, the signer doesn't get to keep a copy of these. They don't get to keep one of those immunity of prosecution documents for their own safety and protection. No, it goes into a highly classified top secret file that the United States military is dumb enough to keep. And we have them. Okay, Billy and Stana, they have all, these are the top guys that control America's nuclear defense system. They are the ones that weaponize America's weaponized weather from Landstuhl, Germany. Okay, these are the guys that use the highly classified DARPA spy technology to monitor the CIA, all the military, and all the people who think they're important, and which is many of you listening, and who think that because you are the CIA and the Department of Defense, okay, and you think you're a fucking big shot, you don't have nothing to worry about, that you're not being spied on. But yes, every minute of your life is monitored, and it is my international security detail that monitors you and has all of the kidnap contracts. And we know each and every person who has signed kidnap contracts. And I'm telling you what, you're all going down. Everybody who has signed a contract, including people I've never seen or heard of in my life, people have never seen or heard of me in my life. People live all over the United States. Millions of you are being executed. Okay, so that's what the contracts are for. And here's how not smart you people of America are. So when Jay Cooper sits you down and he shows you, he's got this kidnap contract that you have to sign. And in addition, he's got another document that is an immunity of prosecution contract, in which he'll show you, and then he'll sign that. okay, and you know, and you think you have immunity of prosecution. You don't. That document means nothing. It's null and it's void. A crime is being committed. And Jay Cooper is also committing the crime. And he does not have immunity of prosecution to be able to offer you immunity of prosecution. But the people are too dumb. They don't have intellects, human intellects. They're dumbed down and they're drugged up and they're brainwashed and they're cult programmed and they have rotted their brain on fucking Hollywood fucking shit. And they're not smart enough to say to Jay Cooper, who is CIA, Department of Defense, Deep Dark Black Ops of the military, and Department of Homeland Security, they are not smart enough to say, well, okay, if you're the one who is the federal agent here, with the authority and the arresting power, and I'm just the dumb fuck civilian / immigrant, okay, who's being recruited as a unimportant sacrificial pawn operative to do your dirty work. Why is it that you need me, you need my signature to carry out this Patriot Act arrest for this person who, according to you, has committed federal crimes and is under federal investigation and is on the Patriot Act and terrorist watch list as a threat to national security? Why does the federal agent with the power, the authority, and the arresting authority, why do you need my signature? They don't ask that question. 2 reasons. Number 1, they're dumb. Dumb. They're too dumb. They're too dumb. Their intellect does not extend that far to even process that line of thought, to even ask those questions. Number 2, they get paid what feels like a whole lot of money to them. And if they're getting like a marriage and business contract out of it, it works a little bit something like this. Based on DNA selection and compatibility, okay, one of the 300, which is like us, who have access to the CIA DNA database, okay, will go in there and will find a DNA compatible match for you within your own blood type or species, or they will match you up with an opposite species. This is how they insert the serpent seed bloodlines into the human bloodlines, the descendants of Adam, us 12 tribes of Israel. This is how they do that, and they will, like, for example, if you are an O negative, pure-blooded human, and you still have good DNA, okay, that has not been modified and contaminated enough that it shows up on that it shows up in your blood, okay. What they will do is they might match you with somebody like, say, Barron Trump. Okay, that little demon who is not a human. You can look at his mother. You can look at, well, what's that fucking alien Gray's name? That humanoid alien Gray. Donald Trump's wife. Anyways, I can't remember her name. Look at her. Okay. Well, Donald Trump is himself, okay? He is of those Shayateen non-human bloodlines. And so is the mother. Can't remember her name because she's just not that important enough for me to care about what her name is. And now these are 2 completely different non-human demonic species. And they put them together, and they get another species, which would be Baron Trump. But these are, you understand, those people are pure-blooded. Okay, we're talking about, they are like the descendants of the demigods, and the bloodline, just like my own, has been kept pure and protected. Okay, these junk DNA hybrids that a lot of you of the American population are, okay, that's what you are. You know, you're mutts, and you're proud of it. You think that's funny. You think it's hilarious, and you have no problem admitting it to people while you laugh and joke about it. Okay. I'll tell you what. If I was a mutt, okay, I would have to go bury my head under a rock somewhere and wait until I die and hope that nobody would ever find out. Okay? But no, you people don't see anything wrong with that. So, so that's how the marriage contracts work. It depends on who you are and the reasons you're being recruited, what your DNA is, what they're going to do with your DNA, who is your bloodline, who is your family. And by the way, that's the Republican Democrat psyop that you've all fell into. Okay, it's not about political parties. It's about family bloodline. It's about bloodline wars for power. Okay, and you got these related bloodlines under a Democrat Party cover front, and then you got the other bloodlines that they're in a bloodline family war with under a Republican Party cover front. But that's what they are, okay? And then, like maybe, for example, if there's a marriage contract involved, you're a young couple, you're getting married, okay, they'll give you like $500,000 on a contract signing. And then they'll set you up with a good job, as the nurse practitioner in one of America's many Nazi medical clinics, okay? Or you'll get a job as a school teacher, and the husband will get a job as a DARPA satellite terrorist, okay? And the cover front is maybe he works at Chrysler, at the Chrysler dealership, okay? Well, he might actually be at the Chrysler dealership 3 days a week, and the other 2 days a week he's in a military base behind a DARPA supercomputer watching you right through the walls of your own home. Okay, and so, and they get cover front businesses too. They get to be the cover front owner and, in front like they own a business that they don't really own. Okay, so, that's what federal loans and shit and federal grants and all that are about. The CIA and Homeland owns it, okay? And you are the cover front owner. That's all you are. So, these are the deals that they get. And these are the reasons why they don't ask very, very basic elementary questions like, why do you, the federal agent with the arresting powers, why do you need me, the unimportant civilian and or maybe / fucking immigrant, okay, who's otherwise a nothing nobody who you are trying to recruit as a sacrificial pawn operative or role player? Why is it that you need my signature? And hey, can I have a copy of that immunity of prosecution to keep for my own records just in case? No, that's Satan's deceit, and y'all fall for it, like the scripture said. Very, very, very few of us on this earth will not be deceived. Most of you have been deceived, and so that's why these modern American Muslims can't say anything. So back to Alex and Avery Ishmael. Excuse me. and the NBA contracts. Now, I, of course, wasn't there. I was instead being trafficked as the occult blood ritual sacrifice for these contracts. But UN and international intelligence did have inside spies there. And based on what they told me, which may or may not be true, and I may or may not have the details completely right, but basically what it is, okay, the boys going to the NBA, okay, they are there with the group of the people who, the Satanists, who they'll all be there in a hotel room or wherever they are for this ritual. Okay, how it works is Department of Homeland Security, CPS, who's notorious for kidnapping children from parents. Okay, they will just they supply a kid that CPS has, and that kid, usually it's about an 8-year-old boy, and then the NBA player, the one that's hoping to be the $1 billion baller for the NBA, has to butt fuck this kid. And it's not about the sexuality or the sexual gratification. What it is about, it's about energy. It's about harvesting energy. It's about trauma. Okay, and the purest form of energy is the child's energy, the innocence of a child. And so when they stick their dick up that child's asshole and the child is traumatized, and I heard somebody else, and I can't remember who it was, this has probably been about 9 years since I heard him say this. It was somebody, I believe the NBA also, said that it is not just traumatizing to the child, but it is traumatizing to him too, what he's doing. And you have to look into that child's eyes and see the trauma, and the child can see your trauma. And what happens is the child shoots adrenaline through their bloodstream in massive amounts. And then the child is crucified, sacrificed, and his blood is drinking and his flesh is eaten. And that adrenaline, they say, is better than cocaine. That is what a child sex sacrifice is. And now see, like with Alex and Avery Ishmael, Alex is the narcissist of the two. Avery is the, if there was a good one and a bad one, which they're not. They're both bad. They're both horrible. They're wicked. They're disgusting, and they're gonna die for their fucking crimes. But if there was a good one and a bad, you Americans, if you Americans had to judge them, you would. Alex Ishmael is the bad one, and Avery is the good one. Alex Ishmael's a narcissist. It can't be hidden. It's all over his face. It's in his eyes. You can look, before I didn't even have to ever meet him in person before I saw a picture of him. His father, Ahmed Ishmael, who was one of my best friends for 4 years. The whole time they were trafficking me and setting me up. And the whole time we were setting them up. And Ahmed Ishmael had on Sundays, he would usually typically see Alex and Avery, and he had taken some pictures of them, and he sent them to me. He said, "These are the pictures we took today." I looked right at it, I said, "This motherfucker's a narcissist." Alex Ishmael has narcissism stamped across his forehead. Narcissism is a shayateen trait of the jinn species. Okay, and he has that trait much stronger than his brother does. They're hybrids, those what they are. And Avery, so what I'm told by the inside spies that were there for the child sex ritual sacrifice, they said Alex was all into it. all gun ho, yeah, go NBA. You know, he was ready to stick his dick up anything. Kidnap, traffic, murder. And he was all into all of this shit, okay? And Avery wasn't, although he can't say that. He has to play it off and pretend like he's okay with it. You know, he wasn't, okay? And he was probably, I'm assuming Avery probably was traumatized. Alex was not, okay? So that's what these contracts are about. And then the blood ritual sacrifice, that's literally a crucifixion where one is crucified like their name is Jesus Christ, and it's the same thing. You know, they excrete all this adrenaline, and it runs through their bloodstream in large accelerated amounts, and it's in the skin tissue and in everything, just like the meat in America. That's why the animals are treated and raised in the most horrific, inhumane ways that they are. But what you people don't know is it's people too. They're farming and eating, selling and eating people also. Okay, and they're being sold as chicken, beef, or pork, okay? And they're being mixed with chicken, beef, and pork, okay? And this is real fucking shit. This is not conspiracy theory. This is not speculation, okay? I didn't sit and rot my brainwashed mind on Hollywood filth like you people, okay? So, this is real fucking shit. This is how the world really works. This is real life. This is what pays for your American dream. And this is what pays for your disgusting, filthy way of life in America and in the first world. And that is why Americans will not do the right thing. That is why they will not report these god-awful, most horrific and disgusting crimes against humanity to law enforcement. They absolutely will not, because that's what pays for the life you first world fools have enjoyed up until now, and that's going to change. So, back to the DARPA electromagnetic spy technology and weaponry. Okay, so in the last video, I explained to you about the biomagnetic signatures, which tied into why the social engineering during the bio-COVID warfare operation for 6-foot social distancing, so the biomagnetic fields don't mess and merge, and the technology can find you. Okay, well, let me tell you how it's used as a weapon. And when I'm going to make a post, and these videos are going to be in there, and I'm going to put pictures. And I also have 2 videos of 2 very recent survival assassination attempts by electromagnetic satellite warfare that I just survived in March and April. And this year, I believe it was 4 times they did it to me. They've tried to assassinate me this way no less than about 7 times since March 2023. Just like my scripted birthday, 9/22/1970, which is a master number. And that with my birth name and my birth date under the occult sciences of numerology calculates to 33, 5 times 165th degree and natural born initiate of the Illuminati of Rhineland Flats, okay? Where I was born in Rhineland Flats, Germany. I am a Hebrew, pure-blooded, prime genetic DNA of my prophetic bloodline, which is the true hidden tribe of Judah, for all you Iggers with an N, who got sucked into a CIA brainwashing, mind control, Yahweh cult, and have been convinced that you are the tribe of Judah. Me, my father Roger Del Payton, and my daughter Geneva Payton, and my father's brother Ellis Payton, who is at the Vatican Black Pope head. We are the last 4 people on this earth at this time who are known, that are left, who have the pure-blooded, prime genetic DNA of our prophetic bloodline. We are the true house of David. Okay? And Gog and Magog, these AB negative and A negative serpent seed bloodlines, these Khazarian Ashkenazi European Jews are going to get the fuck up out of Israel. There's not going to be no 2-state solution. You got to go. End of story. Period. There will be no peace in the Middle East, and there will be no 2-state solution. You gotta go. You gotta get the fuck up out of Israel. You gotta leave Jerusalem. End of story. And I do call the shots. I was born one of the most powerful and most protected and most hidden people in the world, who none of you were ever even supposed to know that I even fucking existed. My very existence is one of the most it falls in the category of the most highly classified top secrets that there fucking is. Okay, and you people were never even supposed to fucking know that I exist. Okay, let me put it to you like this. Okay, Donald Trump didn't even have the necessary security clearance to know that I exist or who I was. Okay, how do you like that? So, that is who I am. We are the house of Imran. Imran is the father of Miriam. Isa, his name is pronounced in the Arabic dialect, and in the Hebrew dialect, it's Yeshua. Okay, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I don't always pronounce things right, but Yeshua, and Isa in the Arabic. His name is not Jesus. It never was. Jesus is a completely, totally separate and different entity. And when you make it to the highest levels of secret society, I'm talking like nearly the top of the pyramid, which you pretty much have to be born with the DNA to get you there. That is when you get the hidden knowledge, and that is when they tell you that Jesus, a name that didn't even exist until a sodomite pedophile Shayateen named King James invented it and put it in his bastardized, corrupted version of the scriptures, called the King James Version of the Bible, that the independent Baptists swear is the undisputed Word of God. The undisputed literal Word of God. God spoke English, didn't he? The undisputed literal Word of God, and that's all they need to know. They don't need to know anything else, and that is exactly what they will tell you. And most of them are CIA contracted role-playing pastors who don't live the lifestyle that they preach from the pulpit at home. Okay, so it's a spy. It's like everything in America. Okay, it's also a spy operation. That's what America's corporate commercialized junk brand of religion is. So, the name Jesus is also interchangeable with Zeus, but it's Lucifer, okay, the bright morning star, okay, the truth, the way, and the light, okay, so Jesus is Lucifer, okay, and that is who, and somebody was crucified, but it was not Isa, son of Mary, the true Messiah, and that is the bloodline I am of. Imran, the father of Mary, cousin of Yahya, which is which these Judeo-Christians named John the Baptist, but his name is Yahya. Okay, that is my bloodline, and I am a pure-blooded prime genetic DNA of my prophetic bloodline, and that is why we're doing this, what we're doing here, and that is what has given me the power to do this and to destroy all of you people and to destroy your lives and to strip the United States of America of its right to exist. And these are the things that make my life more valuable to the international community than they are to myself. And this is why the United States of America is holding me hostage in their own fucking fear-based desperation. Because I am also the only person in the world who can interface with the DARPA spy technology, okay? And I am the one that put together the language up that we use now. And the CIA and Israeli Mossad has spent the last, almost 10 years trying to learn how to do it themselves. And they practice on each other and everything. They can't do it. Nobody can do it except for me. It is a God-given gift and ability that God gave me for this particular purpose, for the reasons I was sent here as the soul that I am. I was sent here through the portal that my mother's womb is, to have this physical body so I can exist in this physical realm to carry out God's will and bring his wrath down on you sinful fucking heathens and your dirty, filthy, disgusting way of life. Your way of life based on fornication, idol worship, fornication, homosexuality, sodomy, pedophilia, and cannibalism. It's what and who you people are. Now your day is done, and you're going to pay for your crimes, and you're going to pay for your crimes with your fucking lives that I am taking at the Hague and before the UN under international law as the treasonous that you all are. And I do call those shots. I'm the one that did all of this, and I call the fucking shots. And that's the way it's going to go, and it's not going to go any other way. Unless everybody gets carpet bombed city by city, village by village, like Americans have done to poor people all around the world, like they have done to the Iraqis. You know, you fucking dirty, filthy, trifling, raping, murdering Americans with your fucking night raids, going door to door, kicking in families' doors, and raping mothers, sisters, daughters, and grandmothers right in front of husbands and fucking children and fucking fathers, sodomizing boys right in front of their fucking family, and then slaughtering them, and you laugh and you brag, and then you know what? Then you come back from the war with PSPT. You know what that is? You know what your post-trauma stress disorder is? It's God's wrath. It's God's punishment on you. You're being tormented and punished by your own fucking sins, and you will be until the day that you die. And every one of you, I pray every one of you will be fuel for the fire. I pray there will be no forgiveness or no mercy whatsoever for any of you on the day of judgment. Okay, that's what you fucking Americans do. And then after you've done raped and sodomized and terrorized and traumatized every fucking family in a village, you'll just carpet bomb them. Well, I'm hoping that's what happens here in America. And that's the only thing that's gonna change this, and let's see, that will be the only way you're not getting executed at the Hague, is if y'all get carpet bombed, and I'm hoping that happens, and I am prepared to go up and smoke with you, okay? And I would be honored to leave this earth as a shaheed, going up in smoke, getting carpet bombed with you filthy, trifling, disgusting Americans, because I know what you people are too dumb to know. I know that there is no such thing as death. Okay, I know that I am immortal, and it will be me standing on the other side in the next realm. Okay, still fucking you up your fucking ass until the day of judgment, until you will be fuel for the hellfire. And all of you modern American Muslims, okay, when we stand before Allah on the day of judgment, okay, I will not forgive you. I will have absolutely zero forgiveness for my oppressors, for those who oppressed me, for those who oppressed my family, for those who oppressed my daughter, for those who obstructed justice, for those who stood in my way and blocked me from worshiping Allah in the house of Allah that you treated as if your own, to oppress me and to religiously persecute and violate me, like the spy agency, the spy nest over here, the Tauba Islamic Center on 9 Mile in Centerline, Michigan, 9 Mile between Van Dyke and Sherwood. Okay, that are contracted under CIA, Macomb County Corporate Council, and U.S. Army Private KM Prestige, okay, who canceled the whole fucking iftar in their fucking paranoia of me being there. And then the Imam Jafar Sadiq Islamic Center in Detroit, okay, where they canceled the fucking lecture for sisters for no other reason than so I couldn't be there. Okay, you blocked me from Allah's house. You treated Allah's house as if it was your own, and you used it to commit a crime, and you used it to violate, oppress, and religiously persecute me. And I am going to make sure that this is voiced on the day of judgment. And I am going to make sure Allah knows, no, I don't forgive any of you. There is no forgiveness. Your crimes have these crimes against me and my family in the